Alrighty, well, welcome to this week's Talk Ask Us Anything earnings call special. Obviously, that's the main part of the news we've got this week, but there are a couple of other items. Firstly, we have the new Cybertruck images and video at Giga Texas. So this is actually one of the images that's been taken. It was actually courtesy of, I think it's the Cybertruck Owners Club. A little bit later in the show, we'll actually show the video that accompanies this image, and we'll also look a bit closer at the image. The next bit of news is that Tesla has demonstrated the HEPA filter effectiveness, and it goes something a little bit like this.
We just put in the second vehicle, we're reblowing up the bubble, and we're preparing to do a comparison test side by side.
Normally air pollution, you can't really see it. You can't really see how bad it is. So we're trying to use this to demonstrate it visually. So we're going to be running a bioweapon defense mode on here. We have a HEPA filter installed.
It's going to show us the effectiveness of the HEPA filter versus a vehicle that does not have the HEPA filter.
Bioweapon defense mode engaged. We're going to signal smoke. Go smoke. Smoke going.
So the cabin is now pressurized as the smoke is released. So all the air that's coming into the cabin is going through the HEPA filter, which is very good at taking out the particles of smoke. So as you can see, the cabin is staying nice and clean, even though the outside world is quite a hostile environment. This filter is 99.97% effective or better against particles of any size.
Like no particulate in the car, right?
No particulate in the car.
Zero red smoke in the car.
No red. The car is clean.
Immediately you can see a lot of dust here on the inlet side of the filter, and then on the back side over here you see nothing, which is good. I'm going to lift this up and we'll see the carbon filter, which is probably also going to be quite red from capturing all that smoke. There we go. And then I'll pull this filter off and we'll see the real HEPA filter, which is also going to have some red on it. You can even see it on the back side of the filter here, so it definitely caught a lot of this dust and filtered it out so that it's not getting into the cabin and into your lungs.
HEPA stands for High Efficiency Particulate Air Filter. The great thing about a HEPA filter is how well it filters out very, very fine particles, like PM 2.5 and even smaller. And those are very bad because they can be small enough that they get into your lungs and stay in your body.
Over 4 million people die per year based upon exposure to bad air quality. And the World Health Organization says that over 90% of people live in environments that have bad air quality. With wildfires in California and other extreme climate events happening worldwide, it's really important to be able to provide clean air to everybody. So that's why we have a HEPA filter in our vehicles.
And of course, the last bit of news we've got is that Tesla has announced the most successful quarterly results to date. And that is definitely something that we'll be getting into in some detail a little bit later in the program. But in the meantime, we're just going to reset very quickly. And we're back. So firstly, welcome everyone. Anyone new, please feel free to say hello and tell us about your awesome car that you either have or have got on order or thinking about getting. So anyone wants to go first, please just shout out.
Hi, I'm Willem, and I'm getting my Tesla Model 3 the 20th of March.
Fantastic.
It's a rear wheel drive, so it's got the new LFP battery. Yeah.
Awesome. And what color there, Willem?
Stock standard white.
Poverty Pearl White. Fantastic.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Well, that's pretty exciting. I have heard...
Pearl White is the best, Willem. So
I must admit, I wanted initially I ordered the car with the blue, and then I went for another test drive, and I saw the blue and the white next to each other, And then I decided the white looks better, so I changed my order to a white.
That white it's such a nice white. It's much better. There used to be a solid white, and the pearl white is just so much nicer than that. So yeah, that's a great choice.
Excellent, excellent. Well, welcome, and it's exciting times. And obviously, you've got a few questions as far as how the delivery process goes. The great thing is that our answer to that question will probably be longer than the delivery process itself, which is great. But you certainly won't be left hanging around for too long waiting for your car. All right. Is there anyone else that's new that would like to say hello? Please feel free to do so.
Yeah, g'day. Andrew Horan here. Down in Dawesville, we've got our car parked down here. We got a Tesla Model 3 rear-wheel drive on December the 6th. We were actually not expecting it because we were late getting organised through a couple of series of incidents. However, there was somebody who didn't go through with their order, and we were lucky to get the car. We ordered, I think, early November, and we were able to pick it up on December the 6th. So yeah, it was very interesting, very quick process of getting it. And we'd watched all the videos, but of course hadn't taken in more than 5 or 6%, I think, of all the information that was in there. So it was pretty confusing driving off on the first day, but yeah, we are over the moon in love with the machine. It's a phenomenal piece of gear, and everybody that sees it, we can't wait to show them. And we've had Christmas parties, and we're able to, New Year parties, we're able to put the light show on, etc., which has been good fun. It's just, yeah, we pinch ourselves every time we look at it and get in it.
Fantastic. And in fact, Andrew, I think that might be a great opportunity to highlight just how good the light shows can be. And this is a light show that I can actually claim the what would you call it? Sowing the seed for this light show. And I'm going to spool it up in 2 seconds. And in fact, I'm going to do that a little. Oh no, found it. So this is something that I challenged Chris Lim to level up on, and he didn't disappoint. So have a quick squiz at this, and if you haven't seen it, let us know what you think.
Y'all ready for this?
That is absolutely unbelievable. I've only ever seen my car do it by itself, but that's a symphony that rocks. Are you able to send a link to that video for us, Harold? Because I would love to have.
Yes, absolutely. If you just search Chris Lim, CHRIS Lim, but what I will do is I'll put a link to that video in the chat, and we'll do it right here.
Oh my God.
There it is. And I'm quite confident that Chris is going to continue to not disappoint. I sowed the seed on Ask Us Anything a couple of weeks ago, and he took it to heart and delivered. So go, Chris. And just
Oops.
sorry, say again.
No, sorry. I got distracted. I'm with
Oh,
you.
cool. Sorry. And it's funny because if we have a quick look at Chris's stats, he's now got 205 subscribers and 9,000 views. I thought I'd help Chris out by publicising this to some Europeans, and I think at the time he had about 100 views and 95 subscribers. So you could say it's gone a little bit viral, but it's an awesome video, and it's really showing everyone what you can do.
Yeah, yeah.
So there's a challenge to anyone in the room and everyone watching on YouTube. Try and better Chris's effort.
Wow.
See how you go.
Yeah. Excellent.
Alrighty, so is anyone else that's new that would like to say hello before we get down to questions?
I'm not new, but I've only tried to Zoom in once before. Harold, you might remember me as the nuisance caller when I first got my car, my Tesla 3.
I don't remember any nuisance calls, Lynn. All calls I get are always good calls.
Hey guys, he's too kind. Don't believe a word he says. I did suffer terribly from that range anxiety that we hear of and may have experienced ourselves. But anyway, I've nursed my way through that and feeling very confident. So I'm not a new Tesla driver, or I am a new Tesla driver, I don't know, but I'm certainly only doing this meeting for the second time, and I intend to stay on it. Because I feel I've learned a lot from just taking my time and getting to know the car the slow Lynn way. And I really would love to fast track or learn what I don't know, because I do learn from observing and discussions much better than getting a software update and trying to read a little synopsis and making sense of it. So I do come tonight with a couple of questions, and I'll park them for later, but I'm really here just to learn from a whole lot of other really much smarter people. I bought the car for the environmental reasons more than the technology, and technology has always been my friend and my foe simultaneously. And I have to say my Tesla 3 has been the exception to the rule. It's been nothing but a delight.
Awesome. Now, what we might do is just get a little informational video out of the way first. Now, this is a video that has come to us via Western Power, and I think it's a very good video that shows the safety of their network. Let me just open it. And sorry for this. All right, we'll start it now.
Pete didn't know that his tree would fall to the right, not to the left. Jess, that her allergies could cause such a catastrophe. And Jan didn't know that a gust of wind could blow her trampoline from here to here. Luckily, they did know to call Western Power. We're ready for anything. So if you see an electrical hazard, stay 8 meters away and make the safe call.
That is so
That's
good.
a little community service announcement, courtesy of Western Power.
Poor Pete.
Very much, Eric. Poor Pete. You never live this down.
The photoshopping skill.
Yeah, I must admit I did spend a bit too long on that video. Like, I could have done a bit better. For those that weren't familiar, Pete had a minor incident with a chainsaw and a palm tree. And obviously Western Power saw it fit to sagely warn others of what could happen. But anyway, that's a little inside joke for those of you who haven't been on Ask Us Anything before. But no doubt, yeah, well, you know about it now. Alrighty. I guess what we could probably do, we are going to discuss the quarterly earnings results, obviously, because it's, I mean, some of the concepts and information that came out of it are quite mind-bending and mind-blowing. But perhaps we might get some easy questions out of the way first. So anyone shoot with any sort of casual questions, and then we'll get into some other stuff a bit later on.
I'll ask a really basic one, which I should have perhaps been able to work out myself, but it will show that anyone can ask anything.
Mm-hmm.
When you put something on your car seat and it's not a person, but your red sign keeps going ding, 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 how the hell do I turn that off without having to put the seatbelt around something that doesn't need a seatbelt? Just to
the only thing you can really do is just wait. The red symbol will stay, but the dinging noise will go after about 15 seconds. Although the problem is, if the object is of a certain sort of weight or dimension, you can sort of trigger the seat sensor and then untrigger it and then re-trigger it. So it could sort of, as you're driving around or on a bumpy road or whatever, it could sort of trigger and stop and trigger again. So sometimes the easiest thing to do, if you've got to do that, is just plug the seatbelt in.
Or you could put the item on the floor.
Yeah.
That is true, Nigel. Very true.
There is just the seatbelt extension, just the clip part of the seatbelt that I think Tesseries or Tesla's, one of the two Australian ones, sell. I think it's like $5 or something. So, and that allows you to essentially trick the system by making it think the seatbelt is in.
Rightio. Look, thank you for that. I probably have.
It's actually it's just on screen now. So it's $4.99 from Tesseries.
Oh, it's 1 cent off.
You got to do better, Pete. So basically, as Pete described, you can just plug it straight in as a defeat device. If you want to put anything on the seat.
Okay, excellent. Seatbelt insert. Excellent, thank you. And I've just become a grandmother this year. So
congratulations.
Thank you. The grandchild hasn't yet made it to Western Australia. But when they do, I may very well be faced with a car seat requirement. Are they easily fitted ourselves safely? Should I take it to Tesla? Because clearly I don't want to get that part of the process wrong.
Yes, I've had car seats for my grandkids and it's no problem.
Yeah. Okay. It's instinctive with when you see the car seat and you look at all the YouTube videos.
Yeah, we've got an 18-month-old, and we had him in our car seat up to Broome and back via Karatini. So he's in there all the time. I think we got like do you know what? I'll find the brand that we got and then put it in the text chat bit of this channel. But we got a really good one. It was like graphite grey or something. But anyway, I'll find it and then post the link. But Teslas are very well set up for car seats. So you should be good.
Okay, thank you very much, guys. Do you want me to keep going, or am I holding?
Yeah, go, Lynn. If you're on a roll, you might as well just peel them off, and we'll answer them as quickly as we can.
Okay. FYI, I have just recently had installed a Tesla solar battery. So we've got the new panels on our roof, and we've got the super storage battery. And in fact, that was only installed and functioning at the start of December, and I've already got my first power bill, and there's a saving. Unfortunately, hubby arranged the Tesla battery storage, and I've got the Tesla car. Can we put both on the same app? Because does anyone know how to work that, or do you need to, or has anyone got experience in that? I know that's outside our core discussions.
Yes, you can. So there's two ways to do it. So you can either add the Powerwall to your Tesla account, or the other way, or you can add the car to the Powerwall account. But so the way you do it now is you can actually do it through the app. So if you've already got the Powerwall on your app, you can actually add a car through the app. Harold or Richard might be able to show you on their phone. So
I don't have a Powerwall.
What is the benefit of joining?
Oh, sorry. That's right.
Yeah, no, I can,
Richard.
yeah, I can share. So, I mean, it's literally just I've got that stupid grey thing. So yeah, you literally just swipe. So yeah, you've got the car there, and then just swipe. So it's all under the same account. So then you can see the Powerwall there.
Yep.
So yeah, so that's how seamless it is once you've actually got it.
Okay.
Running just on one account.
So even though there's two different names, like I've added Andrew as a driver, he can add me as a battery person, and we both have the same details.
Correct. Yep.
Thank you, guys. You're already really helpful. And I've ordered a spare tyre in October because of my fear of being caught out in a long drive. It still hasn't even been received by America to come here yet. But when I get it, I've let Harold know that if anyone wants to take one, if they're going on a drive and it's suited to your vehicle, because I've got a Tesla 3, I'm happy to share the love because I'm not going to drive around with it all the time. But I would like to make that offer.
Cool, thanks, Lynn. And is it a modern spare tyre?
Yes.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, we've also got one in the club that's free to borrow for any members.
Yep.
So if you're not a member, please go to tokwa.org.au, and it's a whole $20 a year. And for that, you get to borrow all the loan adapters, charger cables, chargers, spare tyres, and other things. And you're also supporting the cause, obviously. So that's one great benefit of being an owner. So for anyone here that isn't a Tokwa a Tokwa member yet, just tokwa.org.au. Or on YouTube as well. If you're watching this, please do the same.
Yeah.
Cool. Any other questions from you, Lynn, or anyone else?
No, that's it. Thanks very much, Harold. I feel I'm ready to listen, shut up and listen now and learn.
No worries. Awesome. Okay, has anyone else got any questions or comments?
Could I ask one, please, Harold?
Yes, Mark.
Just a quick one. I was swapping between chill mode and standard mode, and it suddenly occurred to me: is there a difference in efficiency? Because I seem to get better engine braking. It might be just how it feels, but it seems like I get better engine braking when I'm actually in standard mode as opposed to chill mode. So is it if I'm doing a long run, is it more efficient to drive in chill mode or standard mode?
No,
all the same.
All that chill does. So, for instance, all that chill does is reduce the maximum power that your car generates on full throttle.
So does that mean that if I'm on a long run, I won't use much power when I accelerate or anything like that then?
Well, it makes zero difference because unless you actually floor your car when you're overtaking, which is difficult to do legally, it makes zero difference to your long-term efficiency on a road trip.
That's good.
It's really intended for people. Well, I don't know who's intended for really.
Chickens.
It's just that's right. For people that might be.
I quite like just the gentleness of that chill mode. In fact,
but that's cool.
First week or so, I drove around in chill mode because I thought I'll just set it off in that. I forgot about it was in chill. I thought this thing's fast, and then I put it in standard mode and found it was a lot faster.
I guess it's for people that, I don't know, just can't resist putting your foot down a little bit extra and they don't want to do that all the time, but it makes no difference.
If I have it in standard mode, I tend to actually, if I do overtake, I'm suddenly doing 90 in an 80 or a 70. That is one of the issues I do have, because it just accelerates so blooming quick. God knows what performance is like.
Chilled mode, Harold, with the ABC on at the same time can cause drowsiness. Yeah, so you really need to put that little curfew in.
Yeah, actually, I think before we say that, given that was some advice, we might have to just predicate it with this.
The following segment is general in nature and shouldn't be taken as personal professional advice. Listeners should seek their own independent assessment from a qualified advisor and not rely on the general nature of information in this program.
or
Is
not.
that-
I thought you
Does that
were
actually-
all qualified advisors for this.
Does this actually stop Clive Palmer suing us, Harold?
Possibly. Big shout out to Big Clive. You're welcome anytime, but just not soon. So that's bigclive.com. He's a YouTuber. He does some great videos. Not the other one that Jared, who has retained legal counsel, may be interacting with later. Alrighty. So, any other questions or comments?
Yeah, guys, I've got a couple if you don't mind.
No, of course, Andrew.
Thanks. So we've, my wife and I both use the car, and she's actually down as the primary user because she ordered the car, and I work away. So there's been regularly when she gets in the car, and it happened again today, and I saw it where, and I don't, no, it happens when I'm away as well. So even if I'm not the last one in the car with my phone connected to the car, she might have been in the car, and it will often ask her to get it, to use a card and put it back onto the, in the middle of the console so that she can then be recognized. It's never happened with me, but it happens with her regularly, and we just don't know why.
So have you got different phones? If one of you've got an iPhone, the other one an Android, or vice versa?
No, both iPhones.
And you've both got your phone set up as keys?
Yes.
Yeah, it's probably something to do with the Bluetooth. I've had that with my phone sometimes. I get sitting in the car and it says sticker the card on, or put the card on to open the door because it won't open. And I just have to get my phone out and get the opening screen up, and then usually the Bluetooth kicks in.
Do you mean the opening screen on the app, Nigel?
No, just the opening screen on the phone.
Phone, okay.
Yeah, I just, get the phone up, swipe up, and then it will seem to connect. It's a problem that you have with the Bluetooth. Bluetooth takes a second or two to connect, but it's a very short range. So you can't be walking towards the car and 10 meters away it's connecting. It only happens just about as you get there.
Yeah. No, we'll just keep monitoring it and try the phone thing to see if that makes a difference. Thanks for that. My next one is
just a quick one. I've got a fairly recent one. I only got mine in December as well, and I have noticed as well, if you don't have the phone app on, occasionally you have that type of an issue.
Okay.
So it might be just that the app isn't open. So if you're going just to the car, make sure she has got the app open.
Yeah,
it may help.
Yeah, okay.
And my wife did that once. I opened the car for her because she was getting in to drive off. And when she got somewhere about 20 kilometers away, she couldn't get home. She had to then go and find her key card. Fortunately, it was in her purse.
Lucky. That's a good pro tip, actually, is do take the key card with you. Either keep it in your wallet or your purse. Not necessarily to use actively, but just as a backstop, just in case. Because there are many thought experiments where your car might be out of mobile range, such as in the supercharging and at Karrinyup supercharger at the Karrinyup shopping centre, where I actually had that very experience where I took my wife's car from around the corner down to the supercharger, and then I was in the middle of the road where the superchargers are, and then I could see someone was having problems with the Type 2 charger just next to the supercharger. So I jumped out of her car to help this person. When I jumped back in, I didn't bother taking the fob. In the Model S, you can have a separate fob, key fob, and you don't have Bluetooth phone keys. And I couldn't start the car or move it. So I had to run the whole length of Karrinyup shops to meet my wife and grab the fob and run back to the supercharger to move her car, which was blocking every car that wanted to go through there. So pro tip, definitely take the key card on you or with you as a spare, just in case.
Yeah, okay. No, that's great. Thank you. My next one is just looking at a few videos and bits and pieces, and there's comments around charging if when we charge at home, we don't have a rapid the wall charge or anything at the moment. We're just charging from a 10 amp circuit, but we're not doing great miles, so it tops it up enough. But I've seen a few videos where it says only charge to 90% if you're going to charge regularly at home. And I just wanted to know, should we, I mean, we have charged it to 100 and we regularly do if we're going long distances the following day, but is there any reason to set that limit to 90?
So is your car a standard range Model S rear wheel drive? Okay. So your car, what you'll see is the, and I'll actually bring this up on, I've got a simulator. It's actually now slightly out of date because Tesla have changed the way the screen appears slightly. But on your charging screen, what you'll see is little tick marks that start at about halfway and go to 100%. Mm-hmm. What you will not have on your screen are the two words trip and daily. So because you don't have those two words, and because you have got a standard range Model 3 with the LFP batteries, the lithium iron phosphate batteries, you can charge your car to 100% all day, every day. Absolutely. Now, if you have a longer range car, so if you have a long range Model 3 or a performance Model 3 or an S or Model X, then what you will see is the daily and the trip. What you then ought to do is ordinarily charge to up to 90%, which you can safely do daily. But when you have occasional trips, then you can safely go to 100%. I've just got this thing up here. So when you go and set your charge limit, what you can see is, and this is the case for you, Andrew, and anyone with a standard range Model 3 that's less than a year old, is you'll just see the 50% up to 100%. So you can charge it to 100% all day, every day. Okay. No problems. But if you had a car that had the word daily here and trip here, then you ought to only charge at 90%.
Okay, great. That's fantastic. So we'll just leave that set at 100. So that's perfect. Couple more. Now, this was really weird. Today, I was going for the morning coffee and we've got a downhill approach and I'm using auto steer pretty much all the time. And as we getting close to the corner, I just flick it out of auto steer, just flick it up once and then go into the left-hand lane to turn in. And for some reason, I think I hit the drive stick a couple of times and I didn't realize, but it wasn't slowing down. And when I looked, it was in neutral.
Yeah.
So I've done that. Yeah, and it just kept going around the corner. So obviously used the brakes instead and slowed down and stopped and put it into park and then put it back into drive and went as normal. But I don't actually know what I did to get it into neutral, and I just want to make sure I know how to do it so I can avoid it in the future.
Yeah, we've been there and done that.
Okay, great.
It's if you in drive and you put the right stalk up and you're stationary and just press it up, it goes into neutral or reverse. But if you're driving and you're in drive and you want to cancel the auto steer, you just flick it up. What probably happened was you pressed and held, and that's what puts it into neutral.
Right.
It's that little delay holding it in that position.
Yeah. And it's not going to cause the car any problems to be in neutral. I mean, I was doing 90 km an hour.
No, unless there's a car in front slowing down and you're not.
Yeah. No, none of that. But it was just a shock at the time thinking, why isn't this thing slowing down? Perfect. I know that. Talking about the tyre before, Lynn, I did see that some people get the foam. I think they used to call it zhoosh back in the day, but there's the foam you can get if you do get a flat tyre, stick that into the tyre until you can get it repaired. Is that something that people commonly do?
In fact, Tesla sells it as well. So they sell a little kit. It's got a pump, a 12-volt pump, as well as the goo all in one packet.
Okay. Right. Okay. Great.
And I think it's still available on the Australian Tesla website. I'm not sure if Harold can pull it up so you can have a look. But
Yeah, I'm just trying to bring it up now. I think it's actually not in stock anymore. Here we go. They've got the tyre repair sealant for $40, but they're not actually showing the compressor anymore.
So that doesn't have any gas in it to pump itself into the tyre?
No, yeah, actually, well, what that cylinder there is actually a pressurized cylinder. So the little kit they have is an air compressor, and also that other cylinder sort of plugs into it, but they're actually two separate items, just sort of bolted together. But you can obviously get these things from Super Cheap Auto, Repco, and other places. Another alternative is you can just get those unvulcanized rubber seals where you basically you pull out the tech screw and you sort of plunge in this, or you sort of auger out the hole a little bit and clean it out, and then you plunge in this unvulcanized sort of slug of rubber. Now, one advantage of doing that as opposed to the tyre sealant is I think the tyre sealant might affect the tyre pressure monitoring system, and you may need to then replace it because I think it gums it up, or it may gum it up. So obviously if it's an emergency or whatever, then, everything, nothing else matters. The priority is to get, back to where you need to be. But maybe consider that as well, a tyre repair kit.
Yeah, great. Okay, that's a good idea.
I was just say, if you have no choice, feel free just to use the goo, because those Tesla uses a standard frequency tyre pressure sensor, and I think they're only about $30-40. So but and also just with that goo, it's not a silver bullet. So if you have a gash in the sidewall of your tyre, there's not much that you can do apart from changing the tyre.
Yeah, no, that's good. Thank you.
So, gentlemen, you've just got me thinking, I don't know what the hell you're talking about. So if I had a flat tyre, one, have I got roadside assist of some sort with Tesla? I think I have. And two, would they do all this if I rang them?
80 Ks outside of the city is as far as they go.
Yeah.
For roadside, for your tyres. So get RAC if you don't have it. That's what I have. And if you're in the city, then they'll just come in and they'll just change your tyre and give you a spare. And then you just get that repaired, and then they give it back to... did Tesla just give it back now? Because you used to have to give it to them. Does anyone know if the service centre now take it back and then give it to the fellows?
Don't know.
Not sure.
Okay.
Just quickly, if you look at Super Cheap, you can get something like this, which is a tyre repair kit, and it's a whole $40.
Yeah.
And that's the vulcanized rubber sort of slugs.
Yeah.
And there are various versions. There are some sort of more advanced versions, but the cheapest ones work perfectly well.
Yeah.
ARB have also got a good one, probably similar to that. Most of those kits are quite good.
Yeah. It's only for
The
to get you out of trouble.
Yeah, exactly.
The tires are quite tough though, because when I had a puncture, I couldn't get into it. But lucky I had the place that changes it was actually next to me where I was doing my course. So the guy just walked out with a tire and changed it myself. So
perfect.
Yeah. So just so you know.
So they still jack it up and things like that in that.
Yeah, you got to be careful where you put the jack. That's something you need to be knowledgeable.
Okay, I'm looking at the RAC now, Tesla coming to my rescue. But I hear what you're saying.
Yeah.
Good news is I think you can actually join RAC roadside assist sort of almost
on the spot
when you're in danger on the spot.
Yeah, it just costs you just a little bit more.
Yeah.
But it's not a lot. I mean, I'm gold with them anyway, so don't know. Just a whole bugger now.
I do have a couple more if you don't mind.
Go on, shoot.
It's so good. It's so much easier than watching YouTube. the roof shades, we haven't bought any yet, and I think the front one's out of stock on the Tesla site, the Australian site. Does anybody have them, and are they good? Because obviously,
yes,
in this
yes,
way, the glass.
yes, get them.
Yeah. My
I've
head.
got the Tesla ones.
No,
Yeah.
you don't need them.
Yes,
So-
get them.
No, you don't.
But only for people that have shiny heads need them.
Yeah.
So you have a shiny on your
No,
head.
I don't.
So there's
Yeah.
two schools of thought. There's Nigel and Rob Dean, who, by the way, excused himself for not being able to be on tonight. They both, Nigel and Rob, will swear that you don't need them. I'm of the opposite view. I actually think they make quite a difference. The different types, and I've actually got both. I've got the genuine Tesla ones. The advantage of the Tesla ones is that you can still see the sky, so you still have the benefit of having the glass roof. The disadvantage is that it doesn't block that much heat.
Okay.
The ones that Teslas or Tesla is one of the two going sides, the ones that they sell tend to block, tend to be more opaque. But they tend to keep out a little bit more of the heat.
Okay.
One thing that I found though, Harold, if you're able to put up the one showing the rear sunshade again.
Is that Tesla's one or the Tesseries?
Doesn't matter.
Okay.
So
Just a sec. I'm going to do this way. So this is Tesla's one.
Yep.
Yep. So you got it. Yep.
The sky, yeah.
And we've also got Teslas, because Tesseries they're out of stock. So
Yeah,
this
so
is
see
the
difference.
this is the Teslas, which is I think a lot darker. Is that what you're alluding to, Pete?
Yeah, yes, it is. It's the stitch is a lot closer. Now, if you have a look at the line at the back there, just above that child seat, the problem with the problem is that there's nothing for it to attach to across that whole span. So unless you get yourself one of those, what do you call them? You know, those pressurized,
Suction cup.
hook type thing. The suction cup. That's what I was. Yeah, that's what I was looking for. Thanks, Harold. Unless you get yourself one of those and attach it that way, they tend to come down a bit low. If you've got young kids, it's not an issue. But if you have adults in the rear seat, the top of their heads will touch that shade. And whether it's the Tesla one or the Tesseries one, they both seem to. Yeah, that seems to be a bit of a weakness. So I use one, but I only have the front one in. The back one I used to use when our kids were smaller, but now they're as tall as adults. So yeah, it just gets a bit too close to the top of their head.
All right.
Yeah, I've got the Tesla ones, and the rear one goes all the way to the back. But I saw that the aftermarket ones only did half the window, so I was sort of like, well, what's the point of that? Or three quarters.
Sorry,
See
Paul.
if you have a look.
Yes, sorry, Paul, you're absolutely right. So yes, the Tesla one goes all the way to the back. The problem is it makes it a little bit harder to see out the back of your rearview mirror.
Yeah, that's what the cameras are for.
Yeah, it's not too bad, but it does obscure the vision out the back there a little bit. But no, that's big. Yeah, thanks, Paul.
Really good advice, everyone. Thanks. And the last one they had, and it's probably something very basic, but it's the fan noise when because I will come home, sit in the car, go and do some things, come back and sit in the car again just because I like sitting in it. And there's often a fan that's still going that that you can hear in the front. Sometimes I've lifted the front to have a listen, but you can definitely hear it when you put your ear down at the bottom of the windscreen. And I'm assuming it's got something to do with keeping the battery cool or some other thing that it's doing. But there's nothing to be concerned about, is there?
No, because if you've had your aircon on and you've come home and then you get out of the car, the aircon will still run for a little bit because it's trying to get rid of the moisture. So that could be the noise that you might be hearing, because if you're getting in and out, the aircon will keep running.
Yeah, it's definitely definitely a fan noise, and it's sometimes it's a fair while after you've parked up.
More than 5 minutes?
It can be up to about 20 minutes.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it
it
does go for a
depends.
while. Yeah.
It's nothing to worry about, Andrew.
No.
It's just, as Paul says, it's either trying to dry out, otherwise you get a bit of a musty smell, or it's just acting as a cooling thing for the battery or whatever. It's perfectly normal.
Yeah, the fan doesn't sound like it's not functioning properly. It's just a normal whirring fan sound. There's no sort of roughness in the fan sound. So
Yeah, as I understand and what I've read up on it is that the aircon pump can go on at any time when it deems the battery is too hot. It'll take the battery cooling as priority. So even if you are driving and you've switched off the aircon, it might switch on at any time to cool down the battery.
Yeah, and it can also do that if you're charging the car. So if you're at home and you've plugged it in, it can actually decide to do that.
And when it's doing a software update as well.
Yeah. I have noticed it when we're charging, so that's great.
Yeah, it's an interesting thing to sit in the car whilst it's doing an update.
Yep, I've done that.
Try it.
Yeah, good fun.
Freaking scary.
Yes, you hear clicking and clanging. Yeah.
The other one it can be as well is the cabin overheat protection, depending on where it's parked.
Yeah.
Which is 39 degrees, I think that kicks in at if the cabin gets to that temperature.
Yeah, that's happened a lot lately.
Yeah. I've come up to my car when it's been that and they've been going. I thought, oh, it's kicked in.
Yeah. I just leave my aircon running when I get out, and it's still nice and cool when I get back. Especially if it's plugged in at the shopping centre. So it's free electrons keeping it cool inside.
Yep. I'll do the same.
Absolutely. Now, something I should remember to do early in the program every week is to remind everyone who may not have heard about it is Google Synergy EV tariff. So very quickly it goes from 11 p.m. to 4 a.m. You basically get a 30% discount on your power bill for those hours, regardless of what your house is using. So whether you're actually charging your car or not. So for most people, it's a no-brainer. The only little caveat is that you have to have bought your car in your own personal name, and that name has to match the name of the account holder. So if it doesn't, you may need to just switch your account holder for your Synergy account. But for all intents and purposes, for most people, it's a no-brainer. So just a quick little public service announcement on that one.
Yeah, thanks.
Now we're just getting to awesome. No worries, and we can do questions all night. In fact, that's what we're here for. But we'll just do a little bit of fun stuff. I did allude to in the news that we had the new images of the Cybertruck. Well, there's actually one image, and it's this one here. And of course, it shows some updated information. You can see the alloy wheels, and it's basically very similar to standard range Model 3s with the aero wheels, the actual base wheels without the covers. And for those that have seen the Cybertruck reveal video, you can actually see that these are actually the Cybertruck specific tyres, where there would be a wheel cover that would go over and match this pattern. A couple of things we already knew is that the bonnet now is curved, and so is the windscreen. And they've actually modified it's a nicer looking windscreen wiper. The other one that we'd shown a couple of weeks ago was a bit chunkier than that. And you've also got your removable side mirrors, and obviously no door handles. And this thing here is probably a fingerprint, like one of those linear fingerprint readers. And what I've got is the video of the Cybertruck as well. And like I said, this was taken on the Cybertruck Owners Club site, and it goes a little bit like this. There's no sound, so you can just talk over it.
I don't know. I'm still not a huge fan of that windscreen wiper. You're right. It looks much better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. See,
So
that's
it's the light bar
that
at the
there.
top.
That there is the linear fingerprint reader that I think they first showed on the Roadster.
Harold, what do you mean by linear?
It's so some laptops had this where it's just a linear sensor, and what you do is you wipe your finger over the sensor, and it effectively builds up like a raster of your fingerprint image.
As opposed to the Apple one, which is it takes
The whole thing, yes, yeah, exactly.
Gotcha.
Overall, it's looking a little bit more refined. It looks quite stunning, I think, now.
It does. It just looks awesome.
Unfortunate that they've removed. It doesn't look like it's got that light bar at the top.
No, it hasn't.
No.
It's gone. It's gone, which is a shame.
Yeah.
I'm sure it'll be an accessory or something.
But notice.
Oh, Richard Cooper and put one on.
Just notice the bonnet, how it's got all these little indentations. See that? That's got to do Elon's head in, because it's a bit wavy.
Yeah. Do you think it's aerodynamics? Is that the reason why they've curved it?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, completely. But every other panel is straight.
Yeah.
It'll also add stiffness to it as well.
I kind of thought that it was it'd be angled to match the windscreen so that the rain would more easily dissipate off. Or is that not?
No, I think it's aerodynamics, Richard. I'm pretty sure that front section, they've probably worked out they can gain a lot in aerodynamics by having that.
Right. Yeah. Okay.
They didn't do a great job of looking inside. They should have put their. Oh, now just back then, you could see another linear sensor. Whoops. Just there. In that that little back panel.
Oh yeah.
Sorry, I missed that. Harold, do you mind?
Yeah, no worries. Right about there.
Oh, I gotcha. Yep, got it. Okay.
Although that almost looks like a push button, but yeah, I don't know. Or maybe that lights up in that case.
Yeah, okay.
You'd think with having cameras around, they just do face recognition.
Oh, yeah, but it's maybe a bit easy to sort of get tricked.
True.
What if
they also seem to have changed? See, this seems to not be in stainless. At least that's what it looks like from this angle. So that's sort of interesting too, because the other model had that in stainless. So that's probably a bit of cost saving there.
True, yeah.
The front panel also seems to have a curve as well, like the front bumper bar seems to have a slight curve, which makes it look better as well.
Yeah, that's easy to do, but the issue is when you've got a conical shape where the curve changes as it goes down.
That's right.
That rim around the back of the tray where the lid comes down, would that help it seal better, not being steel on steel?
Sorry, which rim?
So just what you mentioned, how that's the black now, that rim around the outside of the actual.
Oh, sorry, this bit here. No, that was always plastic. That's. Sorry.
Yeah, back a little bit. Where the guy's just touching there, you mentioned that whole strip along the side.
Oh, yes, that's now. Yep. Yeah, see that thing there. That's the controls for the Volt. So it's basically like a roller shutter. And in the original prototype, that was all in stainless. But it looks like now they've worked out you just don't need to do that. It's just not necessary.
It's a pity because I quite like that larger rear panel. Just that big slab of steel. Yeah.
Don't know what that is. Whether that's because there's like a segment there, whether that's the charge port, because I haven't, you can't see a charge port. That's something else that's missing, because that's normally on the driver's side.
I
Well,
think
sorry,
where your mouse is, so the slide towards the back, that rear.
There?
No, actually on the what do you call it? The rim, the cover. What the hell? The fender. There.
Yeah, there.
See where there.
That's it. There.
Right.
Yeah, that's yeah, that's right. I think that's now become the charge
That's
port.
what it is. Yeah.
Yeah.
It used to be up on the wall.
It used to be up here. Yeah. So if we if this guy thinks, because there's nothing here, and it definitely seems to be they've moved it, they've shrunk it, which is going to be interesting to see if the CCS connector will fit. Maybe it has to go slightly sideways, like at a slight angle, which is possible.
Looks a lot more refined though, like that.
Oh, it sure does.
I mean, it's a huge vehicle, so that might actually be bigger than what we think as well.
Yeah. I actually don't mind the mirrors at all. I think they look good.
Yeah,
they're all right. This is the backwards facing camera.
Yep.
Just there.
And there's a forward one on the other.
Yeah, on the B pillar. Oops. Just here. That's the forward looking.
And there's another one. I don't know unless they've moved it on the new version, but there was one at the front of the rear wheel arch as well.
Oh right. Oh.
So just there. See, yeah. So if you put your cursor, if you go right up, to the rear wheel arch.
Oh, that way.
That's it. Yeah.
Oh right.
Yeah,
that's interesting.
Yeah, they need one at the front so you can see what the hell you're running over.
Well, I've got 3 cameras up here,
but
as we've seen before. But yeah, you're right.
If you're gonna go off road.
So I was just pointing at the camera and the camera there. He was probably pointing at a back camera as well. So so there you go. That's the Cybertruck expose. All I can say is I'm excited.
Carl? Yes, I just the curve. Sorry.
Go, Pete. Yes, go on.
The curve on the front of the Cybertruck. I thought that was a pedestrian a safety issue. So you don't have sharp edges.
It still hurt.
Yeah, that's
like a 3-ton vehicle. It's not going to matter.
I think the thing you're saying about the pedestrian thing is the actual below the front light strip across the front used to actually cant backwards. That section below the light bar there used to cant backwards. It's now more vertical. I think that was a bit they were mentioning was possibly for pedestrian safety. So a flat bit is a pedestrian rather than a tapered back section where that used to be tapered backwards. It used to be like a sharp edge just below where that light bar was.
Yep. Yeah, so I think this has always been curved, although I'm not entirely certain. But that's easy to do because you just have to bend it. But this thing is actually a large diameter cone shape. So the actual curvature is less here than it is here. So, and that's really hard to do. You have to basically stamp it. And like Elon Musk said, you just can't stamp this sort of material. But my pro tip to Elon, who is watching, is just use some inferior, like some lesser tough stainless steel sheet for that, because obviously that's not a structural part of the car, because it's a bonnet that raises up, so it doesn't matter. But anyway,
it's really it's not really a panel that, you'd ding that often either. So
Exactly.
yeah, and
Exactly.
you might be able to take weight out of the car as well, which is another added bonus.
Precisely. Now, onto the main reason for, well, at least the headline reason for this program, which is the fact that it's actually a Q4 earnings call special. I think initially, one of the most informative graphs to look at from their actual report is on page 26, and it goes a little bit like this.
What a difference one makes.
So, so in all of Tesla's history, they've made a loss before 2010, 11, 12, loss. This red line is their accumulated loss, basically, in the billions of dollars. And then in 1 year, pretty much, I mean, there's a little bit of help in 2020, but in 1 year, namely 2021, they've gone to erase all of their historical losses ever.
That's amazing.
Wait
So-
till the end of this year. That'll be stunning.
Well,
Yeah, right.
precisely, because this is more than the sum of all of that in 1 year, and it's a year that has been adverse because of a worldwide global chip shortage.
And not just that, it's a year during which they were also able to build 2 gigafactories at the same time. So you've got all those as well. It's absolutely incredible.
I think there is a section that basically says, I think their cash flow. So I'm going to find it. Just speak amongst yourselves.
Their capex was $6.5 billion that they've spent building 2 gigafactories and various other capital expenditure items. Yet they've still got that bigger turnaround. It's incredible.
Yeah, I think they managed to have about a lazy $5 billion left over after spending 6.5 on 2 factories. So I think it was Dave Lee that said that Tesla is now becoming a cash cow.
Oh yeah.
And that's kind of just mad. It's just unheard of, because everyone knew that Tesla was going to go broke and be mired in debt forever. There aren't that many growth companies that are cash cows. It just doesn't normally happen.
Gina is she's doing all right.
We're doing okay, mate. We're doing all right. Me and Gina.
Gina's okay. She's not bad.
And the analysts still get it wrong with Tesla.
Time to invest now. Oh wait, you can't.
And Gina does own Commonwealth Bank, ANZ, National Australia Bank, Bank West, Benio Bank for a bit of fun, and WIFs. So yeah, she's doing okay.
I think it says it here. So they've generated $5.5 billion of GAAP net income, and that's after spending $6.5 billion in capital expenditure. So Tesla literally can't spend all the money they're earning.
No.
And they're building 2 factories. And this was something that was just awesome in the earnings call, is that I think, was it Drew or was it Zach? It might have been Zach Kirkhorn that basically said that, oh, by the way, Elon, well, he didn't say this, but I'm paraphrasing. Elon, a couple of years ago, said that, we expect Tesla to grow its turnover or its car sales by 50% per annum, which is an outlandish growth projection. But basically, Tesla today have said that they can achieve that just using the existing Fremont and Shanghai factories. They can achieve greater than a 50% growth in production this year with the existing factories alone, and that's ignoring Texas and Berlin. And bearing in mind that they also announced that production has actually commenced at, well, Berlin as test production and also in Texas. And in fact, if you want evidence of that, this image here actually shows the Texas factory, the General Assembly, and they're running proper cars through it. I think the previous. So go, Paul.
Oh, sorry. I was just going to say, and it's a flex to say, you know, with their 4680s, that they're going to come out of there because, see, there's no bottom there. It's just the front and the back casting.
In fact, that's something that they also did basically say was that the Model Ys in Texas will be the 4680s and the Model Ys out of Germany will be the 2170s initially.
Yeah. And they're using the 2170s in Shanghai as well.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. So this is the Gigafactory Texas General Assembly. Cool. And they've got the paint shop all set up and running. And you've also got Texas, and this will be one of the structural battery packs.
Yeah, they stated as well.
Yeah, I love that concept actually, just mounting the seat straight onto the pack.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's incredible, isn't it?
Or straight onto the chassis.
Yeah.
Oh.
It's just awesome, and this is the Shanghai factory, which they're extending, obviously, and it shows some photos. I mean, Shanghai is already fully cranking. And one thing is Tesla are sort of sandbagging a little bit, or actually a lot, because in this little slide here, it's just these figures are just false because. Because yes, in Fremont, their current capacity is 100,000 Model S and X and 500,000 3 and Y, but in Shanghai it's not. Well, yeah, it is greater than 450, and they're just not saying. I think they're embarrassed at just how great that capacity actually is and is going to be.
Yeah, well, if you look at the figures for last quarter, with over 300,000 vehicles made, that's an annualized rate of 1.2 million on its own. But they did say at the earnings call that they've got capacity in Fremont and Shanghai to make 1.4 million vehicles, which is a 50% growth rate on the 900,000.
And that's just almost doing nothing. You know, if Tesla do almost nothing, that's what they'll achieve, and that's ignoring Berlin and Texas.
There's still a lot of factors, Harold, that you haven't taken into consideration.
Such as Jared.
Jared.
There's a little insurance company that Carmen belongs to that's trying to move into another country, set up a new office. And that could actually throw a bit of a spanner in the works since they provided most of the gas to Germany. So that there might be a bit of issue there. There might be a little bit short of gas. So yeah, it would be interesting to see what happens there in the next couple of weeks. So
how long is that, Jared?
Well, hopefully it won't be 2 weeks.
2 weeks.
Really? Any idea when you're going to be finished here?
2 weeks.
How long will it take to put this place together?
2 weeks. I do get the permits. How long will the job take? 2 weeks. 2 weeks? 2 weeks? You sound like a parakeet there. 2 weeks. 2 weeks. Well, 2 weeks. It's amazing. Amazing nothing. It'll be a regular miracle.
Yes.
Anyway.
2 weeks.
2 weeks.
But it might not happen in that 2 week period because of the Winter Olympics that are happening in China. So apparently, they're pretty good friends, the old China and the other mob. So.
Well, this is true. Now, if we look on the year, production went up 83%.
Yeah.
I mean, what company does that in a global logistics nightmare? In fact, I think they did mention that, you know, one of the frustrating chips was the little microcontroller that was just used to put the seats backwards and forwards, because everything has a microcontroller these days. And, you know, they had horrendous issues. And yet with horrendous issues, they grew their year-on-year production by 83%.
Well, they're producing more cars than any other factory in North America, bar none.
Precisely. Yes. Yep. Yep. Absolutely.
But you've got to realise that General Motors are leading EV manufacturing in the whole world. Mary Barra is just a phenomenal woman. I mean, they made 26 vehicles last quarter.
I heard they're cancelling the Bolt now.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah.
What are they cancelling? The Bolt.
Bolt.
So
The
out
one
of
that blows up.
So out of the 26 cars that they produced last quarter, they're now cancelling 25 of them. 25 Bolts, and there was one Hummer.
Yeah,
one
the Hummer.
drive.
They're leading the way. They're leading the way.
That Nissan Leaf.
Actually, there's a soundbite for that.
Viewers are advised that this recording may contain references to Synergy, 2 Weeks, and Grimes. Anyone triggered by these or similar phrases should press pause and subscribe to the Nissan Leaf channel.
But we never mentioned Grimes, the poor girl.
The ex-Grimes. No, they're great friends. They're just not
I think their
married
lawyers are
anymore.
good friends now, aren't they? Their lawyers are really good friends.
Oh, actually, speaking of money, one little quirk I did hear was that, and we were talking about General Motors, was that Elon Musk has spent more on tax than General Motors has spent on EV development.
Pretty bad.
Oh, but General Motors are leading the way. They're showing us all how to do it.
Now, speaking of leading the way, one of the other ironic parts of today's earnings call, well, there's a couple where Elon Musk also said that, and he reiterated and he said this several times, is that this time he believes that he would be shocked if full self-driving wasn't achieved by the end of this year. So, go
so
Pete.
he quoted, he said, full self-driving that's safer than a human. He'd be shocked by, if it's not safer than a human by the end of the year. And then he said, you know, that's not the main challenge. That's not the challenge. The question is, you know, is it going to be 1,000? How do you make it 1,000% safer or 10,000% safer than a human?
But NHTSA will still not like him. They'll still want to investigate it.
Well, this is true, but what he went on to say was that with just one software update, it could lead to the greatest repricing of any company in all of history, and it could literally happen overnight. Sort of.
The biggest software update of all time.
Yeah, and the funny thing was, if you thought, you know, if those of us who are long Tesla weren't already sort of going, yeah, well, you know, you're stroking our egos and you're saying all the right things, then Elon Musk then went on to say, but actually, this little car company, the cars are going to be a minor rounding error to what this company is actually going to do, because he sees his most important product of Tesla to be the upcoming, what he refers to as Optimus Subprime, which is the robot. So he's basically saying, well, you know, everything's cranking at the moment. We're making record profits. You know, we've basically reversed all of our accumulated losses in 1 year, and we're going to. Oh, and the other thing too is he said, in answer to a question about the colloquially named Model 2, He said, "Oh no, the answer was we're not working on the Model 2, and we don't need it to build millions of cars or to have millions of cars worth of demand. All we need to do to build millions of cars is to build enough factories, basically, and get production cranking." And he said, we don't need the Model 2. So he's basically said, we don't need the Model 2 to be, what you would effectively have to say would be a multi-trillion-dollar company in a few years' time once they start selling 3 times as many cars as they are now, and getting more operational leverage on their assets. But he's then said, and as soon as we turn on full self-driving, there's going to be an earth-shaking step change in valuation just from that one achievement. But he's then gone on to say that actually none of that really matters because everyone's going to love this robot that we're going to build, and we're going to be masters of the universe.
Harold, I put up a tweet about half an hour ago where one way to think about it is Tesla as a car company, so the car business, is 1/20th of the way to Tesla's 2030 target. So they've produced 1 million cars, and there it is. And they're expecting 20 million, or they're targeting 20 million by 2030. So you could say the business is 1/20th of the way to its goal, to its 2030 goal, and already the company is worth $1 trillion. And then we know that, well, Elon has said that energy will most probably surpass the car business. So there's, a doubling at least, if that turns out to be so. And then you've got, as you said, you've got the robo-taxi or FSD, and that could potentially eclipse the auto business. And then you've got the Tesla bot, which could eclipse, everything else again. I mean, that forecast of 5 billion by 2025 and 20 billion by
trillion. T. You got to have a T in front of that.
Right, yeah, 20 trillion by 2030 is if you look at it that way, it sounds silly. It sounds like it should be, so much more. But and the thing is, there's lots of companies that have these blue sky plans and these innovations, which they promise will cure cancer and do all sorts of things. The difference with Tesla is they've got runs on the board. This, the guy that's at the helm was, went to Russia with the idea of buying a ICBM, intercontinental ballistic missile, was laughed out, and 12 years later, he's, half the satellites in outer space are thanks to him. 2/3 of all the traffic last year, of all the cargo last year that went into space was, his company. He's solved electric vehicles. He's now the richest man in the world. Do I need to keep going?
And just to underscore that, you're actually seeing me on this Zoom call, and I'm the host using a Starlink dish, using internet coming solely from Starlink live. And in the last 24 hours, there was a 2-second outage.
Oh.
Sorry, 12 hours.
I'm also using Starlink, but I had a 12-second outage about half an hour ago.
Well, I can assure you that there's nothing wrong with the quality of the service. It works really well almost all the time.
If you can get it.
But
now I dropped out there for a couple of seconds. That's because I switched to Starlink. So I'm on Starlink now too.
Cool. Well, I'm sure nothing could possibly go wrong at all. But obviously, there are some big macro issues particularly in the States, with the Federal Reserve announcing that they're going to have to raise interest rates as early as March. And of course, the market's getting very sad. So there are a lot of people that rightly are pushing conservative sort of settings. And I'm going to, Pete, you might have to help out with the pronunciation, but Dave Lee had an interesting video, and I recommend everyone have a look at it. So it's just Dave Lee on investing. And he had an interview with Kevin.
It's pronounced Dave Lee. It's pronounced Dave Lee, Harold.
No, I know that. No, it's Kevin Pathra, something like that. I might just do a screen share, and it's this person here, Kevin Pathra,
Yep.
and
Yeah.
he basically sold out of all of his Tesla, and I think he had. This was last Thursday. I think he had. It was more than 10 million. It might have been 10,000 shares, which is quite a few. And he sort of explained it, what his methodology is, and actually explained that he's not suggesting anyone else does this. This is just what he's doing. And actually, in his particular circumstance, like many older investors or longer term investors, he's got massive capital gains in Tesla, but he's able to offset a lot of those with some other shares that he chose less well that have got some significant capital losses, and he can offset them. So he's just chosen to go to cash. But that's just for his own particular reasons with the macro environment. But obviously, when he was talking to Dave, and also and when Dave Lee was talking to Rob Maurer from Tesla Daily podcast, obviously they're all in on Tesla. So you've got two sort of opinions. Well, actually, Kevin is also all in on Tesla. It's just that he's gone to cash right now. But that's not obviously financial advice. So you can sort of see how two different sort of fans of Tesla are approaching it slightly differently. But both concede that either methodology is equally valid and risky. And what Kevin's... Sorry, go on.
Actually, you finish your point first, Harold, because that was a little bit...
I was going to say, so Kevin sort of, his basic thesis is, well, I'm not really sure what's going to happen with inflation. Well, we know what's happening with inflation in the States, and the Federal Reserve is going to put up interest rates, and the market can go a bit crazy when that happens. And I guess he's trying to sort of, he sort of described that if the share price goes down, you can sort of get a little bit depressed over time that it's continuing to go down, and you end up sort of being sick of it, and then you might sort of sell your shares almost when they're at their lowest, which is sort of the wrong thing to do. And he's just sort of decided to get out now. But I think a lot of it's been a bit strategic as far as offsetting some other losses that he's got. That's a unique opportunity. I'm not certain in the States. I think it's like here. You can have you have to pay tax on capital gains, as they get realized. But if you have capital losses, you can't do anything with them until you've got a capital gain to offset them. But I'm not sure. Perhaps in in Australia you can roll those over. Perhaps in the States you can't. I'm not certain. So he's basically taken an opportunity to liquidate out of Tesla last week, and sit in the sidelines. And maybe he wants to sort of buy back in if he thinks there's going to be a slight dip. But he's also said it's quite risky, because he could miss out, which can happen to anyone.
Well, that's the bull markets climb a wall of worry. That's a long-held saying in the markets, and the whole role of the bull market is to try and shake out as many people as it can, and the more people it's able to shake out, the more sustainable that bull run is, because if it doesn't shake out any people, and if everyone just keeps on buying, eventually you'll run out of buyers, and that's how you get a bubble, and then you get a crash. So in order for the bull market, almost by definition, to keep going, it needs to shake some people out. So you know, and that's it's the Fed, this month and maybe next month or this quarter, and there'll be something else next quarter, and there'll be something else the quarter after. But or it might turn into something more. I actually don't think it will. I actually don't think we'll be talking about it in 6 months' time. But we'll be talking about something else. We'll be talking about who knows what. The third wave of COVID or whatever. Who knows?
Oh, did I miss something?
Yeah, that's the first time we've mentioned the C word. But and I think you're right, Pete. The thing too is Tesla really is special. Any stockholder, I very vaguely recall the crash of '87. I mean, I was a first year uni student and I didn't have any shares and I didn't really care. But you could easily have bought shares the day before they crashed in '87 and then sold them the day after the crash of 2008 or 9, whenever that happened, and you'd still make a hell of a lot of money. And
that's just an average share. That's not a Tesla type share. That's an average stock.
That's exactly right. And you could have bought Apple the day after Steve Jobs died or whatever, and I'm sure it went down briefly. But since then, which is a seismic event for a company of that type, since then you've
at least
quintupled or seven bagged or something like that. I think they were 600 billion and now they're 2 point something trillion. So Tesla is such a amazingly weird story. It's almost like Apple, Google, and Facebook or whatever all combined. It's probably going to be the company of the century.
Yeah, and I have on the wall a picture of Elon Musk when he smoked the joint on Joe Rogan, and in the smoke has 6%, because that's how much the stock had gone down the next day, and that was like $340 US. So that's always a reminder of me to be diamond hands with my shares. I'm
and
not
don't forget, Paul, that was $300 pre-split.
Yeah.
So that's actually more like $80 in today's shares.
Yeah. So, yeah, I'm not selling. A lot of my shares were 34 if I want to get, ooh.
Yeah, and the big problem is as soon as you do sell them, mate, you're up for effectively all of it's almost capital gains.
Yeah, no, it's more than you don't sell all at once. So that's the trick as well. Don't sell it all at once. So just trickle charges. So yeah.
So
not advice, but
well, exactly. And we've already had that disclaimer on before. But so that was the weird thing. It sort of went from Sublime, where Elon Musk and Zach Kirkhorn were basically describing how well they'd done. But towards the end, Elon Musk in particular just said, but all of this is just a rounding error to the real game. That hasn't even started yet. It's just an amazing company. It really is.
What do you think, Alex? You got the internet there in Mandurah, haven't you? What do you think? Huh?
I think hang on to your shares.
Like hanging on to your tyres in Mandurah, you mean?
That's it. Make sure no one pinches them.
It's so true. Have you been in any shows lately, Alex?
Have I been into any shows?
Have you been on any shows?
No, sadly no. No, we're starting up again. We're doing Mamma Mia. Mamma Mia is the next one we're doing, so that's in a couple of months. in May, if anyone's interested.
Is that with Hannah?
Hammer? No. This is with Stray Cats.
Right. Cool. And where's that at?
That's at Mandurah Performing Arts Centre.
Oh, at Mandurah Performing Arts. Cool.
Yep.
Right.
Sorry.
No, just keep going because I'm about to. Here we go. I did just find it. Just as a short interlude, obviously we all knew, well, last week that the Kaiguna biofuel charger was installed successfully. And in fact, on last Monday, I went up to Southern Cross to collect the temporary charger from there and bring it back to Perth, bring it safely back to Perth via Cunderdin, just dodging a few of those cases that we won't talk about, or was one in particular, and got to Perth safely. But this is a quick video that Robin Dean has actually done of the Kaiguna trip, and I'll just put it on now. And there you go.
And good on you, Harold, as well, helping out.
How many more weeks, Harold, of therapy you need? 3, is it? Then you're good.
The main bit of therapy I need is I put down an empty beer just near the car. It was next to my car in the Polestar. And I don't know, about 20 minutes later, I thought, oh, I'll go and clean that up. Or I'd pick it up. And I picked it up. And I looked down on my arm, and there was this cockroach that had crawled down the stubby holder or out of the beer the bottle onto my arm. So I flicked it off because I hate cockroaches. And then there was another one. There were like 2 of them. There was a pair of cockroaches on my beer, and it's like, ugh. Anyway,
You still drink it?
No, it was empty. It was empty.
How many did you have in your room, Harold?
Cockroaches.
Yeah. At night, did you hear them scattering across the floor?
Well, the weird thing was, I counted in the morning about 7. They weren't they were like March flies and big sort of flies and a couple of beetles, but they were all dead. So anything that entered my room would just spontaneously die, and I knew it wasn't from starvation. And it's like, wow, there must be some good Dieldrin or Heptachlor or something that they probably sprayed around in the 70s, and it's still working. So that was a little bit concerning, but no, it's all good. It was a lot of fun.
That or you were popping off during the night, Harold.
What were you doing during the night?
I possibly resemble that remark, but no,
Emissions control.
Yeah, but it was it was a lot of fun, and I highly recommend anyone go. So obviously, as I've said before, we've gone from Rob and I drove to Eucla, and we were right all the way to Border Village, and we then drove effectively what you would do coming from South Australia. So you go from Eucla to Madura Pass to charge up on the Delta charger, then go to Kaiguna on the 50 kilowatt DC charger, then Baladonia on the 20 kilowatt DC charger, then Norseman, and so on. So, obviously highly recommend anyone that wants to just do that, just as an adventure. It's well worth the effort. So anyway, has anyone got any other questions or comments or anything that's happened?
I've just seen a post by POTUS. It was actually a few hours ago, that has just had me cringing. It says, I meant it when I said the future was going to be made right here in America. Companies like GM and Ford are building more electric vehicles here at home than ever before. I presume they mean they're going to build 30 this year instead of 26.
Yes, I'd say that POTUS is just not capable of uttering the T word.
Or the E word. Elon. Because he invited GM and Ford only. Again.
Yeah,
yes. Yes.
What would you expect?
That's going to happen.
I guess the politically correct answer is that it's up to the good citizens of the United States to determine who their president is or whatever. That's
but they've done it twice and got it wrong both times.
They're talking about bringing Donald Trump back.
Exactly. They'll get it wrong for a third time.
Yeah. Elon
should run for president.
He's got some good ideas, that man.
Elon can't be president because he wasn't born there. And that is the one prerequisite. Just like Arnie couldn't be president because he wasn't born there either.
He's got enough money. He could make South Africa the 51st state, couldn't he?
Well, or he could just become president of Mars.
Yeah, King of Mars.
Actually, I just got a question from Leon Text, and the question goes, how do I turn off sentry mode? At your holiday home. Okay, Lynn, that's really easy. What you do is you set up your holiday home as a favorite, and then you go in, and I'll try and find it right now. Apologies that the screen isn't quite exactly the same, but if we go into settings, and I'll try and do this spontaneously, which is always a bit of a risk, but you go into safety and security, I think, and you've got Sentry mode, and you can exclude home, which you obviously would do or should do if you've got a secure garage or whatever. And you can do the same for work, but you can also do the same for exclude favorites. So then what you do is if you set your holiday home as a favorite, then you can automatically have Sentry mode turned off. Although I think you can also turn it off from your app.
From your phone, yeah.
On your phone. So wherever your car is parked, you can then go, and it would probably default as being on. You could then go to your phone app and turn it off.
Thanks so much, Harold. You've helped already. I have seen that screen. I just didn't think to add it to favourites. I turn it off when I remember, but we've just got a carport in our holiday home. So everyone walks past it and I come out and I've got 27 sentries. So it's just annoying. But yeah, I think I'll add it to favourites and do what you've suggested in part 1 of that reply. Cheers.
Now, the other thing is you mentioned that you couldn't undo a plug. You wouldn't release. Was that in Freo? Was that at the EO charger at the Cappuccino Strip car park?
Yes, it was.
Okay, so was your car charging? Had it finished charging, or you just stopped charging and it wouldn't come out?
It had finished charging.
Would it not come out of the charger or your charge port on the car?
It wouldn't unlock the charge port. So it would stop charging, or it had stopped charging. I really can't be sure of that.
Yeah,
to tell you honestly now, because this was a while ago.
Yeah.
However, it was close to full and I just needed to get going and I could not unlock the charge port.
There's 2 ways of doing that at least. One is on the screen. If you bring up the charge screen, you can press unlock charge port and it will come out, or you can do it on the app.
No, it wasn't appearing on the app.
Yeah,
There's actually 3 ways, Nigel. You can pull the lever inside the boot.
Yeah, but I mean the best way is to do it on the app
first.
So Lynn, was it so on the screen it didn't have, well, not open charge port, but unlock charge port or unlock?
To tell you the truth, I didn't go to the inside of my car.
Yep.
Because I live in Fremantle. So I literally drove around all day and I went, oh, look, it's low. I can charge this quickly and I'll just walk up the hill and go home and refresh, walk down. And that was my intention. I've done that several times at, the plug share. On this occasion, whether it was full or not, I can't be sure, but I have only ever used my phone to unlock the charge port. And it was just not responding.
Oh, okay. So there's a faint possibility that there might have been an issue, a temporary issue with Tesla's online servers. So maybe there wasn't a communication between the phone app and their server back to your car. So maybe that chain of control. To be honest, I'm not sure. I don't think that control is done via Bluetooth. I think it might be done via the standard internet through your phone. I'm not. I do stand to be corrected.
About right, Harold.
I think that might. Yeah, I think that might be right. So the alternative thing to do is just go into your touch screen, into the charging screen, which is slightly changed now. The layout has changed, but you go into the charge screen and say unlock charge port. Now, something else that can happen sometimes is if you tug on the plug and sort of pull it outwards, the way it's actually latched is, I don't have a plug handy, but but there's a little plastic catch that goes into like a hole, and it sort of grabs onto it. Now, I'm trying to show this as best I can. If it's plugged in and it's in the center, it's okay. It's free to sort of come out. But if you tug against it, if you're trying to pull the plug out that way, you'll stop this thing. The friction could stop it from coming out.
That reminds me of the third way. That reminds me of the third way. Press the right scroll button and say open butthole.
Yeah,
Yes.
I didn't even think to go in the car. The reason being the Fremantle cappuccino strip thing is often problematic. So I actually thought it was something to do with the stand rather than my car. So I rang the ranger and he said, I'll get there as soon as I can. And I was trying intermittently in the 15, 20 minutes I was waiting. And of course, the moment he rolled up, out it came. So I looked like, an imbecile. But I said, what were you going to do for me anyway? And he goes, you need to get yourself a key card. And I went, what is a key card? Do you mean this swipe card? And I said, you don't have a swipe card, surely. And he goes, no, I've rescued people before. And that's all he quoted.
I'm not sure what he's referring to as a key card.
So it's interesting.
You must have a methadone program.
One thing one little tip, and I'm just trying to bring it up now, is yes. There's a little bit on the side. So one thing I think it was Nigel was asking, was it the car or the charger side? So if you look at a car plugged in, sorry, the lead plugged in there.
Yes.
Sometimes the circuit breaker can pop, and you lose power to the charger. And when you do so, it doesn't release the cable from the charger. So there's actually on the side, there's a little plastic cap, and it's a bit hard to see. I'll try and zoom in. But that's a little screw-in part, and it's got like a little bit of whippersnipper cord.
Yes.
And if you pull on that, it actually mechanically or physically releases the other end of the plug from the charger itself.
Yes.
So that can be a good little pro tip. That's not what your problem was, Lynn, but it's just as a FYI for anyone else.
Thank you. That's interesting. That's like when your garage loses power and you need to open up your garage doors.
You've got the manual release. Yeah, exactly.
That's happened to me once at the Cappuccino car park. It got stuck in the charger. So I had to unscrew that and pull, and out it came.
Okay.
But when you're using your own cable like that, you can't press on the bit that goes into the car to unlock. You actually have to physically either press something on the touch screen to unlock it or do it in the app. It won't just unlock when it stopped charging, purely because otherwise someone will just come along and go, oh, look, I'll take that 7.5 meter cable. Thanks very much. And flog it for a couple of hundred.
Yeah, that makes complete sense. Really appreciate that, guys. Thank you.
And just coincidentally, you can actually buy a key fob for your Model 3 if that's something that you might find useful. And the other method of unlocking the charge port door is actually pressing on the boot part of the car, and that will actually also unlock your charge port door. Although at $235, it's not cheap, but that's another alternative.
Yeah. Oh, look, thank you. I've been really, really delighted to listen to all you guys get so excited by stuff that just blows my mind, and may have got a skerrick of insight on the issues, but really feel like WA is in good hands to this club. So thanks, Harold.
Oh, thank you, Lynn, and thanks for coming on, and you're welcome back anytime. And obviously, for anyone that might not be aware, obviously all these sessions are recorded, and we put it onto YouTube, just so that those in YouTube land can punish themselves by watching 4 hours of unbroken, awesome content every
So
week.
I would just go on the Tesla website and look at this date of this recording, and it's there for us.
Yeah, it's not Tesla's website. It's actually if you just go to YouTube and search Tokwa. So I'm going to very dangerously do this live. So if we just go into search and just go Tokwa.
Yeah.
And hopefully, there we go. There's our channel, and
it'll be under video.
It's got, so that's our last week's episode, and actually this is a shameless plug of an awesome video that we took on the Nullarbor, which goes a little bit like this. And then the rest you'll have to see on the channel. But yeah, just search Tokwa on YouTube, and we've got recordings going back to last year. And we've also got a couple of pro tip videos as well. There's a pro tip playlist. A great one. Although I must admit, a couple of these videos are slightly out of date as far as charging is concerned, because as I said before, the standard range new cars, you don't have to worry about only charging to 90%. You can just go all the way to 100%. So a couple of videos are not quite in date, but we'll fix that up soon-ish.
Excellent. Oh, awesome. Husband's just entered the room, and he's just said, can I squeeze in one more question?
Of course you can. This is Ask Us Anything.
Is it possible to update or improve upon the stereo system in a Tesla 3?
Tough question.
Oh, okay. So I think
previous stereo system that is really hard to beat, and it's our benchmark, I guess.
So I'm thinking you're wanting more bass, because I thought most of Tesla's Model 3 stereo offering is pretty awesome. But if you've got is it the standard range? You got the standard range, Lynn?
Yes, I have.
So you don't have the subwoofer. So can anyone suggest what to do in that case? I'm pretty sure you can get a retrofit.
Richard.
Yes, Richard's not in the. He's not in the
house.
He's not in the house.
No, well, maybe we can park that, and we'll put it. I'll look for it out on your Tokwa website.
Not if you're on antibiotics or anything. don't look at that when you're on the.
I'm pretty sure. It's going to be difficult for me to Google it really quickly, but I'm all but certain. In fact, I think Peter's just helped me out here, and there we go. Thank you, Peter.
Wow.
If you go to Handshow, there is a Model 3 SR Premium Audio upgrade. Oh, how can it be between $96 and $1,300? That's and how many chats do I have to do? Okay, upgrade version. Let's just go DIY. Oh, okay, I see. DIY. Model year 2021. Driver side. Right-hand drive. That seems a bit cheap.
Yeah, it would never be DIY for us.
Okay, so
It's definitely
okay, we might have to get back to you on that one, Lynn. That might take a little bit of research.
tough question, Lynn.
One thing that may help is in the latest software updates, the Christmas version. I'm not sure if it's in the standard range or the rear-wheel drive as well. I can go out and check, but I know now you can adjust the bass. So I don't know if that helps.
Not in the standard range, the rear-wheel drive version. I mean, mine's a 2019, and it doesn't have it. I don't know what Lynn's is, but I don't think the rear-wheel drive ones have got it in at all.
I literally used to buy my cars based on a sound system that I loved. So that's just where I'm coming from. I've had some help from a friend who's a professional sound mixer, and he's, you know, adjusted the bass and treble and all the stuff as best he can. But everyone recognises it's just a difference from what I've been used to. Yeah.
Well, in that case, you might be able to just procure the kit and get him or someone he might know to install it. I think
Cooper would be probably the best guy. You'd be able to install that.
Yeah, he would actually. I don't know if you've seen Richard. You might have seen him on. You've seen a couple of videos, Lynn, or you've just you just saw us last time you were on.
Yeah. Yeah.
So Richard Cooper, he's one of the doctors in the house. There's actually quite a few. We're kind of girt by doctors. It's kind of one of the risks of the Tesla demographic.
Yeah.
And he's done almost every mod known to anyone, really. So yeah, I think your issue might be bass, because I'm led to believe that the Model 3 sound system is actually pretty awesome.
I had a Mercedes before that, and it was stereo.
Peter McMullen just posted something that the SR can't upgrade to Premium Auto.
Yeah, you need to refit it. And Richard Cooper could do that. He's the sort of guy that could do that.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, look, thanks, guys. I'm not going to be rushing to do it. And, you know, this was my starting entry to Tesla. You know, if that's the only thing that perhaps is not being as good as what I'd love, I'm doing pretty darn well, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I guess hindsight says that if you bought the long range, is the long range got the premium sound? Is that right?
Yes, it does.
Yeah, right. In the performance, but
you bought the wrong car, Lynn.
Trade up, time to trade up, Lynn.
It's in stereo.
Yeah, time to trade.
Yeah, I'll give you 40K for your car, Lynn. Just we can do a deal tonight. I'll just send me your BSB and account details, and I'll get the 40K to you. And
I'll give you 40K plus one.
Oh no, we're not going to have an auction now. Oh.
If I do get a second Tesla, just make sure
I'll
you
give
get
you
one
45.
with the
How's that?
long range.
Guys, we'll be on Zoom forever by the time we get to the price. I'd say yes.
Have you seen some of our episodes, Lynn? They go for hours.
Okay. Oh, great. It's a great community. I'm going to call it a night.
No worries.
First day back at work after a month off. I'm a little bit of a mushy mind at the moment. So lovely seeing you all, and hope it's only first time for many more to come.
Yeah, absolutely, and you're welcome back anytime. We're on today's the exception, being a Thursday. Normally it's the Wednesday, obviously, unless every second month we have an actual casual meetup.
Yeah.
Which no one knows what's going to happen in the next couple of months, so it may just be Zoom all the way. But you're welcome back anytime, Lynn. And like I said, feel free to catch up on YouTube, on our channel on YouTube, for some classic advice and some other moments.
Terrific. I've got a couple of other friends who have just joined the Tesla family, thanks to meeting our car. So I need to make sure to meet your club and you guys.
Oh, and please do, because and even for people that haven't even ordered a Tesla, because we've had people that have come onto the show and said, well, I'm a bit skeptical, why should I buy a car? What's so great about these cars?
Yes.
And, a matter of days or weeks later, they've gone and ordered on the strength of what we've been able to tell them.
Do you think I should tell that to my Volvo EV purchase owner who's absolutely shattered because nothing's working properly?
Plug it in.
Okay.
Yeah, was that? So when you say Volvo, do you mean Polestar or?
Is that what it is? Yeah, EV40 or whatever it is.
Yeah, right.
This Polestar, it looks like a Volvo. It's just tried to be electric.
Yeah. I guess all you can say is, well, if they've got 2 cars in the family, maybe just like if they've gone, say if they've got one EV, the Volvo, and they've still got an ICE car, well, maybe what you can do is just pull forward the purchase or the replacement of that ICE car with a Tesla. And we say that not as we are fanboys, but we're critically thinking fanboys. Yes. So we can put our hands on our hearts and say that at the moment, Tesla is leading the field by a massive margin. Like on every metric, Tesla leads. Yes. And we're not saying that with rose-colored glasses. It's we're the greatest fans, but also we'll give sage criticism where it's due. But yeah, obviously anyone is welcome to come on, and obviously watch the recordings. But look, just encourage them that look, your car's maybe not as good as you thought it might be, but hopefully it might get fixed up or whatever. But why not buy Tesla as a second car or their first car and have the Volvo as a second one?
Yeah.
No.
Adios.
It's cool. All right, Lynn, take care, and we'll see you next time.
Okay, bye everyone.
See you, Lynn.
Cheers.
Yeah.
Peter, I just want to, sorry, Peter, Harold, just want to make sure that Carmen's been paying attention. She's been going pretty crazy on her tab account there, obviously backing a few horses. Just want to make sure she's paying attention, Carmen.
Actually,
is she possibly looking at the price? Go on.
When I was at high school, I used to announce the races at the TAB.
Is that when you had the ink on the bench, Carmen, with the feather? Is that when you were in high school? Is that
what?
When you had the ink on the bench and you put the ink in the
bottle of ink, the bottle of ink.
You'd write.
Don't worry, Carmen. He's just being rude. Just ignore him, Carmen.
He's actually trying to put his own childhood of being ink monitor at school onto everybody else.
I remember sitting at wooden desks that had the ink hole thing. I didn't know what it was for.
Yeah, we didn't have that.
No, we had ink monitors and went and filled up all the ink wells. But then I am old.
Who are we to disagree with you, Nigel? I dare say you are old, if you say so.
And I'm grumpy, all right?
Grumpy old.
Yes. But I don't bet, Jared.
Oh, good, Carmen. I'm glad.
No. Not on horses.
Not horses, but dogs, that's a different story. Or camels, no dramas there. No, not on horses.
Yes. So I've been doing a little bit of work. I have to do some property searches. So I thought I could do that while listening.
Yeah, there you go.
Yes, but you can't do that.
20,000 people coming into Perth next week. They'd be looking for a few houses to buy, wouldn't they?
One hope so.
Yeah, right.
Who's going to be able to get into Perth?
Not for a while.
Dozens of people.
Yes, they're coming in. All the borders are already in. All the school borders at the private schools are in. My son actually comes on the 6th. He couldn't get back in his family from Finland. And they've had their flights changed 3 times, and they're coming on the 6th. So I just hope they can go home and quarantine if they need to at home. But we don't know yet.
Well, that's awesome that they're back. So flying directly to Perth?
No, they have to come in through the eastern states.
Oh, yes. Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
they're going, I think they're going to Singapore, Melbourne, Perth, and then they're treated as a domestic entrant, because you're not allowed to have overseas flight direct. Yeah. Even though they live here, they've been away since July.
Yep.
They went overseas for work because the other Europeans couldn't come into the country. So they've been working over there, and the kids have been at international school. So it'll be good to see if they can get back. And they're happy to go home and quarantine. They're very happy to just stay at home and do nothing. But I don't know that they can. At this stage, it looks like 7 days in a hotel and 7 days at home.
Yes.
Yep.
If they come to your home, you have to quarantine as well and go through all the PCR testings.
Yeah, no, they have their own house.
Oh, that's all right.
Yeah. They'll go to their own house. And so they're all together. They should be able to just go home, really. But who knows? It's all a bit complicated.
Yeah, it certainly is.
And in the meantime, backpackers will be allowed and trades that we're short of and anyone with medical background. And the funny thing is that nurses, for example, can come in, quarantine for 7 days, and even if they've been in contact with someone that is positive, they can quarantine for 7 days and then they go back to work, treating people. So I don't understand how the rules work, but I don't think
it's all right. I don't know that Mark McGowan understands it himself. I think he makes it all up as he goes along.
We'll make it up. There's no question.
It is.
He was making all the bloody figures up last week.
Yep.
I was sitting there watching it live and going, no, that's completely wrong. I don't know where you pulled that figure from, but it's obviously out your ass.
Yes.
I think Mark McGowan's got a very tough job as a premier. I think no one signed up for a pandemic to be a premier. So I applaud the guy for what he's gone through and the amount of threats and shit that he's had to put up with for his family to keep us safe.
Oh, yeah, look, that's absolutely ridiculous. I'll agree.
Yeah,
but,
so
the figures that he was coming up with are and were totally wrong.
Yeah,
well,
he's got a lot of advisors, I'd say.
Hang on 2 seconds. We might just have a little interlude. Apologies to Damon and Ashley and others. In fact, Ashley sent me a message. So a big shout out to you, Ashley. And you were asking me what actually was like, because he punishes himself by watching the YouTube version of this show. And he was quizzing me on what were the bits we cut out. And it's like, well, Ashley, it's what happens in the cutout bit stays in the cutout bit. So we're just going to have a little pause for a moment, which for us could take an hour and for you will take just a few milliseconds. So just bear with me. Alrighty, well, welcome back, Ashley and others. Sorry, can't tell you what we're saying. It's top secret. But it was all good. You notice that Nigel's disappeared. We had to kick him out for inappropriate behaviour, but that's okay. He's known as the grumpy old man. So see you later, Nigel, next week. All right. It's been a bit late for us because it's probably about 1:10 in the morning. Not really, but it is getting late. It's been a long day. Anyone got any last comments or questions or any quirks or anything?
I've just noticed that on the last every time I update, I get an update, my phone is disconnected and I have to use the card to get it connected. Is that normal?
You mean your phone key, like your phone so it unlocks the car after an update?
Sounds very... Was this at a party, Carmen? Were you like smoking this little cigarette going around? And
So Carmen, so you're saying that after an update, normally you could walk up to your car with your phone to unlock the car, and that would then work. But after an update, it doesn't do that.
No, well, I have been able to open it by pressing controls, and it goes into it. But I did another update today, and the key, it says security, iPhone disconnected. And that's happened before.
You're sure you don't have your Bluetooth turned off on your phone?
I'll have a look. No, it's on.
Okay.
I've got keyboards and all the other stuff on with Bluetooth.
Oh, the other thing too, Carmen, just log in. I don't know if this makes any difference. Just open your Tesla app and make sure it hasn't asked you to log into it.
That's a good point. Yep.
Because sometimes when you get an app update on your phone for Tesla, it doesn't keep your credentials and it'll log you out of the app, and that could be affecting it as well, possibly.
The app looks okay. I've got
So the app functions. So you can just go open. Yeah, right, okay.
Yeah.
I
So it's
don't
got
know.
location, schedule. It's just the security. It says iPhone disconnected. So I've got the card.
So when you say security, do you mean it's no longer a phone key? It's no longer acting as a key, perhaps, if it says security. So what you should then do is when you're in your car next is go into just got to bring this. Oops, sorry, got to bring this up. It's under settings. Safety and security. Oops. No, it was your keys. Your keys are locks. Locks.
Yep.
Yeah, so just bring up locks. And just check that you've got under keys, you've got the phone, your phone as a key for the car.
Okay.
So just make sure, in this case, there's only 2 key cards and there's no phone key. But just make sure that your phone has been set as a key in your car, and that for some reason it hasn't been deleted or something like that.
Okay.
So,
I'll go to that.
To connect your phone back up, if it has kicked your phone off, to connect your phone back up, you'll need to have your card with you.
Yeah. Well, the card actually shows on here. So I don't know if you can see.
other way. Yeah. So that's the card. Yeah. But you'll have to check that your phone is still registered with your car. I mean, does this only happen once and then it's okay? Or is it that every time you got to use it?
It happens several times.
But it doesn't happen all the time? In other words, does it sometimes open?
Yeah.
But I presume you keep your card in your purse or handbag or whatever.
Nearby, yes.
Yeah, I just wonder. Yeah. Just check, Carmen, like I said, just check in under locks.
Okay.
And just check that your phone is still registered as a as a key. And if it hasn't, just add it in where you just hit the plus, and then it tells you, it'll tell you, it will ask you what are you adding, and if it's a card, it just does it for you. If it's a phone, it'll say refer to your app.
It could be also because I have changed my phone, and I did redo that.
Yep.
And deleted the old one.
Yep.
But it's a bit strange. It's happened a couple of times.
Well, actually, what you could just try then, even if your phone does show up as a key, is just delete it on your car and start again, and try that. Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. Will do. No, that's cool. Everything else has been working fine. And I haven't received the car kit, the touch-up kit,
paint,
Color and Go, which I ordered in November. So,
there's been obviously with logistics and all that sort of stuff. There's been some weird things. Like, I mean, my wife ordered a Cybertruck model thing in June or something for my birthday in August, and I think it arrived in October. So,
Okay.
but I mean that was a very small item. But actually, that touch-up kit is probably fairly small too. I'm not quite
Yeah.
familiar. Chris isn't online, but
No.
I think it's fairly small. So yeah, it might just be one of these things, Carmen. I mean, can you? Is it possible to track it? Is it a
Yes.
courier that's? Oh, okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
No,
Cool.
I've contacted them via the website.
Yep.
And originally they said they couldn't deliver because they don't deliver to post boxes and they needed an address.
That's right. Yes, I
So I
recall.
gave them
Yeah.
the address, but it's still 6 weeks, and I haven't heard anymore. So I'll contact them again and see where it is. But Amazon have it in Australia now, so it's almost pointless.
Yeah, exactly.
Not that I'm desperate for it.
Yeah,
Everything
cool.
else, Carmen, everything else all right? Plumbing, okay? Any
Yes,
problems with
plumbing,
roofing?
all
Because Harold's got the weekend off this weekend. He wasn't going to do anything. So if you wanted to zip over and redo a re-roof, we could probably do that Saturday, Sunday, Monday. Just let us know if there's anything that you need done.
Oh, that's very kind of you.
Yeah, well,
there's
that's
a
just part of the club.
well, you know, there's a whisper that Tesla's installing some new superchargers, so maybe I'll go and help them out as well. Like, why not? That's just me being cheeky, by the way. There are rumours, but nothing
Only once we
confirmed.
started.
No, that's all cool. Well, okay. Well, I went to the Skyworks at in Netherlands Foreshore, so not too far away.
Yeah, nice. It was actually quite nice.
A very nice evening. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. It was very mild conditions, and there weren't that many people around, which was sort of a relief.
Yes.
But
yeah.
cool.
Oh,
All right.
where I go, there never is. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. All right. Well, I think it's been a long day for us, for many of us, because unlike Pete, I didn't quite get up as early as Pete did, but I was up early listening to the dulcet tones of Elon Musk and others, and like we said earlier, it's been a bit of a sublime and ridiculous sort of day, because it's really exciting. So for everyone here, thank you for being here regularly. The usual suspects, and the new people like Lynn and others. It's awesome to have new people asking new questions, because it's always good fun. For everyone in YouTube land, thank you for watching. Obviously, you're going to like and subscribe and hit the notification bell. We've got 98 subscribers. We need 2 more so we can get our own custom URL. So let's just subscribe, and even subscribe for a friend. Why not? It's all good. It's for a good cause. Yeah, everyone, take care of yourselves in these fraught days.
Special shout out to Nigel Saunders in Witness Protection Program. He does listen. He does listen in on Saturday mornings. You told me.
It's all good. It's all good to lurk. There's nothing wrong with lurking, and there's nothing wrong with watching on YouTube. Tell your friends about it. If you've enjoyed the show, tell them. And if you haven't enjoyed the show, tell them twice as hard, because you can show them how crappy we are and whatever. But
and Richard Chapman, look after yourself up there in.
I'll try.
And stay out of that heat. It's very hot up there, my friend.
Oh, I love it.
All right. Well, on that note,
Good night,
we're going to say good night. Yes, absolutely. So have a wonderful evening, everyone. Stay safe, and we look forward to seeing you next week on Ask Us Anything. Good night, everyone.